Today is actually the second time that Warner Brothers has used the threat of a standalone Supergirl movie in lieu of a Man of Steel 2 to try and scare Henry Cavill and his manager Danny Garcia into cutting a deal. The first threat took place at the beginning of August when news first surfaced that there was trouble in DCEU. Well, it hasn't ever been a paradise, but it became known that Henry Cavill was asking for more money. As for the dirty details, the latest dirty details as to this dramatic contract negotiation, you can check out my video from earlier today. The link is in the video description. An update on that situation: after this morning's drama, neither side has still budged. Danny Garcia said, I'm going to make Warner Brothers say something, and all Warner Brothers would say is no decisions have been made yet regarding Superman, which means we still don't know what we're doing about Henry Cavill. Meanwhile, Danny Garcia insists he's still Big Blue. But with the Supergirl threat not going away, I'm starting to feel it isn't just a bluff from Warner Brothers, and that the studio might actually feel it's a viable solution to their Henry Cavill problem. I understand where they're thinking, I don't agree with them, but I understand that their thought process at this point, based on the other things that they've done and how we know that Hollywood works, right? But it has me worried, and here's why. Now, first off, I'm all for bringing Supergirl into the DCEU. She would be a true powerhouse. Like Wonder Woman is supposed to be if they'd stop powering her down. So annoying! But anyway, the obvious, ideal thing to do is to bring her in via Man of Steel 2 alongside Henry Cavill. Give him a nice meaty storyline and follow the whole quote-unquote empty pod teaser thread that was put in play in the first Man of Steel movie, as again we've discussed before. They really wanted to use Supergirl over there. I don't think anybody over there actually reads the comics, because as I said, she was in contention to be the villain in Suicide Squad 2, which actually could have worked, but they're really playing with fire over here. While these ideas have potential, execution is vital. And I would say the same thing goes with a Supergirl movie, by the way, because it seems that Warner Brothers, from the reports that came out today, is actually planning a Supergirl Origin movie, with the trade specifying that she would be a teenager here. So she'd be a little older than the Cassandra Cain that they're apparently introducing, who's supposed to be 11 in the Birds of Prey movie. What is happening here? Learn from Fox's X-Men. You can't mess with continuity like this. It just becomes too much of a hairball down the line. But where would the story take place? Would it be in space, right? She was it's all over the place. She's like Kryptonian sister's planet, Argo City, but Krypton adjacent, basically. Would it take place there? Will we go back to Krypton? I don't think anybody's enjoyed the DCEU version of Krypton to date. Would it be on Earth after she gets out of that pod, right? And what would this mean for the CW series? These are all huge questions that, nobody knows the answer to. But we do know that the DCEU is becoming very much a girls' club, and I don't know, I feel pretty strongly it's not a good idea. Now, obviously, this is where we're going to understand the DCEU Warner Brothers thinking, right? Their biggest successes to date have been Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn, right? Who are both getting rewarded with sequels. And while one of Wonder Woman's strengths as a movie was equal representation of the opposite sex, I would say that Chris Pine's Steve Trevor is inarguably as big a breakout star as Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, right? But Margot Robbie, who's producing her own sequel, she was given a choice between Gotham City Sirens or Birds of Prey, and she chose Birds of Prey, which I think was a mistake. Again, I think she was like, I don't want to have to try and compete with Poison Ivy and Catwoman. I'll be the star in Birds of Prey. Will she? I don't know. Again, giving Barbara Gordon's team to Harley Quinn seems real tone deaf, right? Especially if you're going to be like the new girl power franchise. That's like, doesn't mesh. But anyway, both those choices were all girl options, right? And maybe a Joker Harley movie would have been the way to go. And they have that in the works, supposedly. But the DCEU Joker is also up in the air right now. So, and by the way, there's also Suicide Squad 2, which is rumored to start shooting right after Birds of Prey. And who's the most anticipated new potential member there? Killer Frost, also a lady. So to be fair, Warner Brothers doesn't have a lot of choices with Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn moving forward, and even with Suicide Squad, Killer Frost would be the coolest new addition. But a Supergirl standalone movie, well, that is a choice, and it's a bad one, especially as their Superman and Batman implode. Let's say things can't be worked out with Henry Cavill and Danny Garcia, right? That will haunt this Supergirl movie. Fans will only see her as the substitute for Superman rather than her own character. And it didn't go so well for Star Wars, right? This stuff has to seem organic. Not that, it's like you'll take it and you'll like it, and the fans, don't react. Nobody ever reacts well to that, right? Now, the DCU also is having a hard time attracting talent these days, as you might have noticed, right? It's just like Star Wars. Nobody wants to get involved with this mess. You can see Wonder Woman, even a success like Wonder Woman, had a very hard time attracting talent, right? So who would want to be Supergirl, right, under those circumstances? Who would want to be, I replaced Henry Cavill, especially because his fan base has become so potent and vocal, right? Nobody would want to get involved in that. And it also doesn't help that Warner Brothers claims to still be working on a standalone Batgirl movie as well. So what's this? No more Superman and Batman replaced by Supergirl and Batgirl? And if you don't think the women's movement is going to come for you for sticking girl at the end of those, you have not been paying close enough attention to the current women's movement, right? And also, bottom line, no matter who's wearing the capes, you can't build a proper DC cinematic universe without the foundation that is the original DC Trinity. And you can't swap anybody out for them. They're the Trinity. Sorry, the MCU has the benefit of not having a particularly established group of stars until Kevin Feige came along. They were like the X-Men. They were the big stars in the Fantastic Four. That's what everybody purchased when Marvel went bankrupt. And Kevin Feige had what was left, and he built that into something amazing. But he could pick and choose. You cannot do that with DC. This is the threesome. This is your Captain America, your Thor, and your Iron Man, and you just have to deal with it, all right? So if Affleck and Cavill have to go, right, priority number one should be replacing them with male counterparts, okay? And then you can put Supergirl in that Man of Steel 2 movie opposite whoever Warner Brothers decides to cast post-Cavill. But you know what? I hope it's Cavill. I really want him to lower his price and do that damn Shazam cameo. I want things to work out. I've come to enjoy him in the role of Superman, and I loved what he did when he was cut loose and cast appropriately in Mission Impossible Fallout. Plus, again, he has built up an incredibly strong fan base. So do you think that fans will take to a mostly female DCEU? I'm sure Jason Momoa and Zachary Levi, by the way, would be very happy with that development, both in and out of character. If you thought Aquaman was happy in Justice League, wait until he sees what the League is about to become. But anyway, how would you feel about it? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts down below. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos along with that contract negotiation update right now.